This is a film study focused to highlight the play of Seahawks rookie left guard Gray Zabel, who's made a tremendous impression so far through 4 games, as Seattle's averaging almost 28 points per game, providing incredible quickness and speed of feet. He's oftentimes getting his second foot in the ground before defensive tackles have even picked their second foot up. It's one of the things that I was taught about football, getting your second and your third foot in the ground sooner than the offensive or defensive lineman that you're facing. And not only is Zabel quick with his feet in terms of his steps, but lateral steps as well. He's not getting a lot of help in this game against the Cardinals by the center, Sundell. That's something that I noticed. The overwhelming majority of the snaps that I have on film, at least, the center is stepping away from him, almost like he's intentionally stepping to help out Bradford as opposed to Zabel. I really like the opportunities that Zabel has to work with Charles Cross in a combo situation. It's a first possession, a 1st and 10. It's a zone concept away, and him and Cross have difficult jobs. So Cross is trying to cut off the backside defensive tackle, and then Zabel is trying to get to the inside linebacker, the backside inside linebacker, as Kenneth Walker III works his way in the opposite direction. It's a weird handoff pitch, if you will, from Sam Darnold. Really short and close, and you can see Darnold's actually even a little like unsure of how to get this done. But let's focus on Zabel for a moment. I think the angle could be a little bit better from here on out. It looks to me like he kind of ends up going vertical a little bit too much, not perpendicular to the right hash, but almost a little bit too much upfield, such that he can't cut off that inside linebacker and ends up trying to grab him. As an aside, this is multiple times in this game where I'm wondering about the Seahawks blocking scheme, and whether Bradford is going where he should be. But it's a really nice job by Sundell, the center, in terms of reaching that nose technique and then Cross taking over the backside tackle. We're talking about the backside defensive tackle. Cross here and Sundell there. Unfortunately, Zabel's unable to get to that backside inside linebacker, and we're talking about this guy right here. And as Walker tries to press to the outside, he's forced to basically bounce it into 2 unblocked players. Kind of a rare situation so far through 4 games, at least in the film that I've watched, in that Zabel wasn't able to get that done. And I think it was a workable situation, even though it was challenging. Still first possession, another difficult snap from a Zabel standpoint. And I do think he's been playing quite well in 2025, but these are, 2 plays that occurred on the first possession. Shotgun run play as Kubiak chooses to go for it on a 4th and 1. Combos here with Sundell, again, working away from Zabel. And then Lucas is working on the defensive end. The tight end, 81, is going to take over this inside linebacker who's lined up as an edge defender. Center consistently stepping away from Zabel, like I said. And Zabel really approaches this with kind of wide hands. His feet aren't that much quicker than the defensive tackle's feet. You can kind of see the defensive tackle get his second foot moving, but Zabel gets upended right here, and those wide hands mean that he's pushed back into the flow of where Charbonnet was possibly going to go, and then Charbonnet ends up bouncing it outside, which not good here. I think the wide hands really helped the defensive tackle get a win because he was able to punch Zabel in his chest and get him off balance. Moving forward here, second possession, you get an idea of how quick the feet are. He's going to reach this 3 technique. So what I'm talking about is this defensive tackle who's lined up just in between Cross and Zabel. It's a pin pull concept, so Arroyo is pinning down on the edge defender. Cross, who I think is playing really well, I'd like to do a video on him at some point, is pulling to the outside and wrapping out in front of Kenneth Walker III. Watch Zabel's feet. He actually kind of crosses over here, which is unusual. We're talking about his right foot crossing over. I think he's expecting this defensive tackle to kind of react to Cross opening up, and the defensive tackle does not. So it's really an easy reach for Zabel here to control that defensive tackle. Watch Sundell and then Cross get out of here. So Cross is trying to get out in front and get up on the corner. Look at what Sundell is leaving Bradford. I mean, he's quick out of here. Sundell is extremely quick, trying to get to someone at the second level. And you can see he's got to the backside inside linebacker. That inside linebacker is able to pull his head down a little bit and swim him out of the way. Crosses out in front for Walker, ends up falling down, to be honest with you. Still a positive play. I love this concept. Seems like Kubiak is using it into the boundary a lot. Zabel, right? Quick feet, very balanced. He's explosive out of his stance. He wins a lot of these reps pretty much instantly. As soon as the ball was snapped, he's winning them. A really exciting rep from a Zabel standpoint to talk about his footwork and the speed with which he gets his cleats in the ground and can then create superior work rate. Second possession, it's a 1st and 10, and he's going to step to this defensive tackle while once again Sundell works to the right side to attack a defensive tackle along with Bradford. I'm going to run this back multiple times just so you can see Zabel. His second foot is in the ground before most guys for the Seahawks along the offensive line have even begun to move their second foot. Now Sundell's steps don't necessarily count. It's a short little understep by his right foot, but Zabel's actually getting his cleats in the ground hard, second foot in the ground, and this defensive tackle still has a foot in the air. So it gives him the ability to attack when the defender, the defensive tackle in this case, has his cleats in the air and doesn't have his balance or his feet under him. It's a really nice job by Lucas out here on the outside of maintaining his block on the edge defender, which I think is Zaven Collins. Walker's going to bounce it all the way across for a pretty big gain. As an aside, everyone on the Seahawks offense is blocking, or at least trying to. Cooper Kupp is screaming in here from the outside off screen. I talked about this play in a couple of videos earlier in the week to try to get to the safety. I think it's Budda Baker. He doesn't actually get to him. Baker makes a diving attempt to try to get to Kenneth Walker III, who's great at breaking tackles and able to get this to the outside. A couple of these plays that I maybe misjudged a little bit in my reaction video, watching them from the end zone angle. Kenneth Walker III really needed to bounce them, or Charbonnet, in fact. But to focus it on Zabel, hopefully on that last play, you got an idea of what I'm talking about. The speed with which he gets his feet in the ground. I will tell you this, I get to watch 3 teams consistently every week, or I make an effort to do so, right? You guys know that, the Ravens, the Lions, and the Seahawks. Out of those 3 teams, Gray Zabel starts for all 3 of them at either left guard or right guard, no question. He's the best guy that I get to see on a weekly basis when I sit down to watch offensive line film. Second possession still, into the first quarter. Again, he's always going to be spot shadowed in yellow. So he's going to step and work out to the defensive tackle while the center tries to work up to the Mike linebacker. Does a great job of just staying on his man here along with Charles Cross. Now Cross is trying to combo up to the inside linebacker number 2. Ironically, it looks like the same guy that Sundell is working for. So Sundell peels back, very aware. That's Gray Zabel in that mass of humanity, along with Charles Cross. Sundell's looking for work and finds it on the backside. So really great job, if you ask me, of Sundell moving laterally, leaving the nose tackle for Bradford to take over, trying to find some work. Isn't really needed there now because Zabel has got it under control, and then peels back for the backside inside linebacker, allows that really big lane for Walker to cut through. Kind of a weird timing when I watched it live. This offensive line, if you ask me, particularly from the center on out to the left, Sundell, Zabel, and Cross, totally different place than they were last year. I think it's pretty obvious to me that Bradford is the weak point, but they're still able to get things done, even though the run blocking and the run yards per carry hasn't always been dominant so far through 4 weeks. Pass protection versus a stunt, and he passes this off seamlessly. He does this seamlessly in most cases, in my opinion, meaning if he gets a defensive end or defensive tackle stunt to the inside, real quick to pass this off to Sundell. Those guys obviously have worked together a lot. Quick throw to Cooper Kupp on a 3rd down. Gets the conversion. The offensive line's done a pretty good job so far this year in terms of pass pro. I think Darnold's been sacked 4 times. I don't have quarterback hits tracked or any of that data at all. So you're more than welcome to let me know if there's other metrics or other data out there that indicates otherwise. I feel like those guys have done a pretty good job in pass pro, but in particular from the center on out to Cross. Still in the second possession, and this is going to be the touchdown to Barner to take a 7-3 lead. he's going to step out, and I think he panics a little bit with wide hands here as the defensive tackle goes to the inside. So the defensive tackle's lined up over cross, and what we would generally refer to as a 4 technique. Cross is stepping out or working out to sweat the edge defender. And so this D tackle is going to go to the inside, and Zabel just gets a little grabby and I think starts to panic. Perhaps ends up holding here. I'm not sure, what the refs would possibly call in there, but in any case, it's a great concept from Kubiak, going empty and then exploiting Arizona's base defense. He's been exceptional and empty so far this year, he being Kubiak. I kind of would like to maybe get a video out on how the Seahawks offense is using various versions of empty formations to attack defenses in very specific places. Third possession, again, he spot shadowed at left guard. We've switched the angle here of the end zone view, and he's going to trap Calais Campbell. Now, this is 3rd and long. I think they could do this in a more efficient way from a blocking standpoint. We'll show you what they did first. So Sundell works to the backside defensive tackle. Well, Charles Cross already has him, and then they're expecting the right tackle, Lucas, to work all the way down to this 10 technique linebacker on the backside. So what I mean by 10 technique, maybe you might want to call it a 20 technique. That's fine. He's almost stacked over Zabel, so it really should be a 20 technique. It's a long way to go for this tackle to get him before this Mike linebacker can press and come downhill on this trap concept. It stands to reason for me that you would just be better served to have Sundell work up to 27 and then allow Cross to dig out or take over this defensive tackle, which is a commonly used blocking scheme on run plays away from you from a Charles Cross perspective. Walker ends up bouncing this because 27 flashes in front of his face because Lucas had too far to go to get to him. We're talking about right here. And then as a result, Walker ends up with a short gain. It's 3rd down. Had to punt anyway. This isn't a hype video, so we're going to talk about some situations where things don't work out well for either Zabel or others. He's tasked with trapping Calais Campbell, which is, a big job in and of itself. I think that the way that those guys got that handled just didn't work out with the particular front that Arizona gave them. I'd like to see the center work up to that backside inside linebacker to just get him out of the way immediately. This one's a 3rd and long. Seattle's running the football because they're just trying to add on to a field goal. Myers missed the long field goal nonetheless. So it's a gut block on the backside for Zabel on this defensive tackle. The center is stepping away once again, and they really functionally almost end up triple teaming this defensive tackle with Lucas and Sundell both having their eyes on the inside linebacker as possibly a combo to move up to the 2nd level. Zabel really gets into this defensive tackle. We're talking about right here, if you ask me. The guy does probably trip over across his feet, but I think Zabel's getting movement from here on out. We're talking about his right foot in the ground now, and then look where it ends up as that defensive tackle starts to trip over Charles Cross. You're definitely talking about movement, horizontal displacement. Charbonnet bursts through on like a same-side run concept. Oh, by the way, Zabel finishes on top of the guy. Like I said, I think there was some trips or a trip there between Cross and that defensive tackle. Myers missed the field goal that would have put him up by 10 in the 4th quarter. Final play is actually a pass pro situation, somewhat inconsequential from a Zabel standpoint, but the game is tied 20-all. The very next snap after this is going to be the completion to JSN for 22 yards that helps get him in field goal range. So he's going to help out Charles Cross with Calais Campbell. Calais Campbell is lined up out here, and Zabel is going to help out in pass pro. What I really like is after collisioning or helping out with Campbell with his left arm, and then working back inside to the defensive tackle to help out there, watch what Gray Zabel then does. He's now looking for work back to the outside. He's basically trying to find someone to help in this pass pro situation. It's a crucial moment in the game. I feel like Gray Zabel is a guy who is 100% locked in all the time. He's touched Calais Campbell, helped out with a defensive tackle, and then looking for work back again to the outside. He's a unique player, if you ask me, among the guards that I get to watch. The Ravens have two really below average guards that they're starting right now, and it's caused huge problems for the offense in 2025. Even in 2024, a lot of people probably won't believe that because the Ravens' offensive stats were so great, but our guard play was really atrocious. The Lions have a young left guard, a second year player in Christian Mahogany, and then a rookie Tate Radledge at right guard. If I had to, and then Bradford and Zabel are starting for the Seahawks. If I had to pick two guys out of those six that I see, it would be Zabel at left guard and Radledge at right guard, and it's not even close. Those guys are the best of that group. It's a small selection, of course, but I feel like I get to watch a lot of football between these three teams, and I think that Gray Zabel is playing as good as it gets for the guards that I get to watch on a consistent basis. I do want to talk about the selection of him at pick 18. This could work out to be a potentially great draft for Seattle. I almost want to say it kind of reminds me of the Lions haul in 2023. If you're not familiar, they traded back instead of taking Bijan Robinson, picked up Jahmyr Gibbs, got Sam Laporta. Jack Campbell was another first round pick. Brian Branch also took Hendon Hooker, who's since left the team. To me, this group that Seattle took here could be compared to it if a couple of things occur. Number one, if Zabel, well, I don't want to say progresses into being a high level guard. He is a high level guard right now. If he continues and improves upon this trajectory, getting a little bit stronger, maybe a little bit more savvy. Um, Zabel Amanwari, who hasn't made an impact yet, I know, but he's got a lot of potential. Arroyo, Milrow, similar, no impact yet. Horton already has 2 touchdowns. Oots is a starting fullback. All of those guys, minus Milrow, have the ability to contribute right now as rookies. Zabel looks the part. He plays incredibly quick for me with his feet and his hands. I didn't really talk about that, but his feet and his hands. The wide hand stuff, I think, probably needs to be worked on a little bit. He's getting his second foot in the ground before many D tackles are even picking theirs up. It's a tremendous advantage for him to be able to attack when guys are slightly off balance. If you're a defensive tackle and you're studying Gray Zabel and you know you're going to have to go up against him all week, you got to work on getting your cleats in the ground and being ready to go. Gaining ground also, don't get me wrong, but getting your cleats in the ground. He's a fun player to watch because of the speed, the quickness, the tenacity, the versatility as well. I'd like to see him get out on screens a little bit more. He's a very smart football player, and he's definitely looking for people to hit. I enjoy watching him work with Charles Cross. Those two look like a really good pairing to me, and then Sundell as well. I think at some point in the future, there's got to be some improvements at right guard. But, I'm not here to denigrate or run down Bradford. But to me, there's a huge difference between what Zabel can get accomplished and what Bradford can on the other side. In any case, this is yet another Seahawks film study. This one focusing on the rookie offensive guard, Gray Zabel, who I think is off to a spectacular start. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section by commenting and or liking the video. That'll help the video get pushed out to larger audiences and then create more revenue for content creators like myself or others. And then finally, if you think other Seahawks fans would enjoy this film study look at Gray Zabel, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach. Appreciate you guys' time.